Hello, this is a photo of the Shard Hotel in London, and it's a pretty good photo. It's got some potential, but we're going to make it a little bit better because there's lots of extra information here. So again, there's two questions you need to ask yourself. What's the story and what takes away from the story? So the story is obviously the hotel. We have some cool elements in this photo too. We have this is pattern. Pattern is great. And that leads us down the street to the focus of the picture. We have some pattern here. It's interrupted by this pattern, but this is a really strong pattern. It goes all the way up from the top, the left-hand side. So that's really cool. But we have a break in the pattern right here. So that's not needed. We don't need any. It doesn't really add to the story. So we could get rid of all that. This is high contrast at the bottom. We don't need any of that. This is high contrast here. Now, this is where it gets tricky because we have to crop from the right-hand side going in, and we don't want to crop too much. Well, there's always a trade-off. This is, again, high contrast light, and then construction site. It's probably going to draw our attention because there's lots of detail there. Kind of look what's going on in it because it's under construction. There's some weird need to look at it, which we don't like. So let's take a look at how we can make it improve this one. And again, the idea is that you follow the logic, follow my thinking, and apply it to your own photos. This is really simple stuff. There's nothing complicated here. I don't get into a bunch of theoretical mumbo jumbo. That's for the other guys, not me. Let's just pull this up at the top, get rid of that. On the left-hand side, actually, before we do that, we need to fix a parallax. So if you notice, if I was going to accentuate, see all these lines are kind of moving in this way and probably the same this way. That's called parallax. That's because the camera was not perpendicular to the ground. It was slightly tilted up. And you've probably no doubt seen this when you try and take a picture of a tall building, you point it up, everything's kind of pointed in. There's no vertical lines, and that's not good. It doesn't look good, and we want vertical lines. On Apple, I'm sure Android's got the same thing. We could fix this. It just basically stretches the photo such that it appears more vertical. And you can see how it's doing that. And we just want to line up these vertical columns straight. They look so much better. And you lose a little bit of information, but we have enough space at the top of the shard to the top of the photo where that's a good buffer there. On the left-hand side, we're going to remove the non-pattern, and we're going to start about there. On the right-hand side, I just want to get rid of this construction site, and that's about as much as I want to go. All right, that's pretty good. And on the bottom, let's see what happens if I think that's pretty good. We just remove that license plate because that's a high contrast area. And an eye will go there. And we don't want the eye to go anywhere but what the subject matter is. Let's call that done and take a look at it. We got a little bit of the license plate there. Let me fix that. There we go. That's pretty good. We've got some people for scale, which is great. And they're not looking at us, they're not wearing red. They're just part of the street scene, and they give us a sense of scale, which is great. We look at the way the pattern, all these columns, it leads us straight down. It's a nice repetitive column pattern, and we have pattern on the right hand side. We've taken out the construction sites. We have some cool shop fronts that with the lighting looks really cool, and there's some street life down at the bottom there, which is kind of cool. And then you have this big, very interesting building, the Shard, coming up, and there you have it. That's a great hotel. I was staying in there. It's really cool if you get the chance. Anyway, let us look at the original. You can see how much more information there is and how much your eye can wander all around. And it loses the focus, the story, which is this hotel and the shape of this building. It loses its focus. It loses its interest because we can look at all this other detail. You have tons of detail to look at the bottom. And look at that pavement, the sidewalk. You see all this detail, but there's nothing, it's not interesting. It's kind of boring. But our eyes will gravitate toward detail and contrast. Here we've taken away all that. I love this pattern on the columns on the left-hand side. And anytime you could find a pattern like that, it's really cool to incorporate that. So that's the photo. I think this one turned out much, much better than the original. And again, go through your camera roll, follow my thinking. This stuff is so simple, and you could improve a lot of your photos. And I bet you have some really good ones in there that you can improve. And the point is now, when you go, next time you train yourself by going through your camera roll and your albums, you're training yourself to frame things correctly. And then next time you take a picture, you're already asking yourself, what should be in, what should be out? So you start off with a much better original. And that's the whole point. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Please, if you've got any comments and suggestions, put them below. And again, if you like and subscribe, I'll keep on making videos. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.